First of all, the Heat, man. I mean, they're looking overmatched, but let me tell you, they they've built such a good organization. I mean, to even have the consistency to even be in the finals or even be there, the mentality of the players knowing that they can win. I mean, first of all, I want to applaud them.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today, sitting in for my tag team partner, is my captain for life, Will Cotton. Will, how are you as we get ready to talk basketball?
Feeling great, feeling great.
Okay, man. So on today's show, we're going to talk about the NBA Finals. We're going to talk about Ja Morant's potential punishment. We're going to talk about NBA coaching hires as well as WNBA news and notes. But let's get to the NBA Finals. Okay, Denver, Miami. And out of respect for Jimmy Butler, let's just say it's going to be a gentleman's sweep, 4-1. Congratulations, Denver, for quietly building a team that is free of distraction, has the ability to play multiple defenses, to go out with offensive different flexibility, plan A, B, C, while having secondary players that can become primary. Will, what are your thoughts on the NBA Finals? As you know, fans, we tape on Sunday. So game 2 is tonight on the day of the taping, and game 3 will be when this comes out. So Dr. Adams is predicting 4-1 gentleman sweep. Will, you've got the floor.
Oh man, I think, first of all, the Heat, man. I mean, they're looking overmatched, but let me tell you, they've built such a good organization. I mean, to even have the consistency to even be in the finals or even be there, the mentality of the players knowing that they can win. I mean, first of all, I want to applaud them. So this was unheard of, but I think the Nuggets are just a better team. I think they're just a better team.
I was waiting.
I think Jokic is just like he's playing in a different realm. I think, even like I was watching the game and he was like playing like okay, like pretty good and efficient, and he only had like 14 points and they were going up like 20, and then I went to sleep and woke up. The guy ended up with a triple double with like a 24, 11, and 12. I'm like, yo, this guy, like, and it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, if they're like, okay, well, he can't really defend that well, but if Bam's going to score and score 26, do it, whatever. We don't care. Just hold down on Butler, man. And then, Butler's not really played against a guy as big as Aaron Gordon. He's bigger, stronger, taller, makes his shots a little harder. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things that Jimmy likes to do. Physically, he can't really do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's faster with Al Horford, no problem, right by him. Middleton, he's stronger than him. But there's a guy who's right with him, but he's a little bigger. So it's a challenge for them. But, the playoffs were great. Miami were great for the playoffs. The Nuggets were perfect example of a team building their team from structure, salary cap, everything through the season, quiet, no problems, no issues. And even Jamal Murray, I mean, they even kind of put him on the back seat, and he even didn't mention anything. He could have been like, well, before Jokic came on, I was really the guy, and I remember I dropped 50 in the bubble and things like that. So they have a good team of guys, man, and the guys just really gel, and it was great. So I think it's Nuggets year. I think it's Denver's year to win. I think, like you said, Miami could get lucky and catch 2, like maybe like a buzzer beater or something like that. But I think 4-1, like you said, it's it was a good run. But
and the thing I'm seeing is Denver's not even playing well. They're playing average games and they're beating people. And the reason why I don't think these series will be extended. Fans, game 1 of the NBA Finals drew a 2.21 rating in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic. In total, the series opener averaged 7.6 million viewers, which was down from the 11.4 million viewers from game 1 of Boston versus Golden State. So, hey, I think they're just going to wrap this up and try to get the teams in the bigger markets a little better next year.
Yeah.
There's no one watching except the basketball purist. Okay. They don't make money for you. Okay, Will, we're going to go to Ja Morant, and I want you to bring in your HR experience. let's set the table for this. Memphis Grizzlies guard Ja Morant has not been charged with a crime for twice displaying a gun on social media, but that will not prevent the NBA from handing down more discipline, according to Commissioner Adam Silver. Silver is preparing to announce whatever the penalty is coming Morant's way for a second gun incident shortly after the end of the NBA Finals. He suspended Morant for 8 games in March after the Grizzly Stars held a gun in a suburban Denver nightclub while streaming himself live on Instagram. Another live stream in May, this time while sharing the front seat of a car with one of his friends, saw Morant display a weapon again. Waving them around, displaying them in a certain context is not consistent with gun safety and is not the proper message that an NBA player, particularly one at Ja's level, should be sending to tens of millions of followers, according to Silver. So yes, I think given the similarity of this incident to the first one, I was alarmed and disheartened. So Will, before I let you chime in, there's going to be a lot of fans, a lot of critics, a lot of folks that say, but he didn't break the law. Police in Colorado looked into the March incident, didn't file charges. Morant has not also had charges filed against anything illegal in the second incident. But the collective bargaining agreement between the league and its players also says players agree to, quote, not to do anything that is materially detrimental or materially presidential to the best interest of their team or the NBA. So, Will, when Adam Silver announced publicly that the league and the NBA PA agreed that Morant's penalty should not be announced during the final, and when he also says that the NBA is a private organization, what do you think will happen to him, sir?
Well, the first thing I'll say is, it's like you said, he didn't break any laws, but you haven't really heard anything from the player association, because I think Adam Silver went to them and he said, look, I want to talk to you guys about what's going on, and this is what I want to do. And I think they agreed. And I think they say, okay, he could get, 30 to 40 games. I think that's fair for the kid. I mean, he didn't, break a law. He just, just being dumb. And I mean, missing a half season is a lot. I mean,
you think they're going to go 40 or 50 games?
I think they can go. I say 30 to 40. I think they're 40. I think it just, it's a lot of pieces. It's so complex. It's money. It's, obviously the initial reaction when things happen, and then you kind of let it subside for like a week and then a month and thinks about things and talk to people, but I will say Adam Silver is doing his best with his due diligence, going, talking to people, not making like a rash decision immediately, like the season you're gone, you're da 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 da. I think he's really thinking about things, and I think Ja Morant should really respect that, because it could be a lot worse than that,
Well, let me see if I can persuade you. Not one, not two. This is the third known NBA investigation surrounding Ja Morant and the possible involvement of firearms so far in 2023. Morant's actions were investigated after a January incident. The incident followed a game between the Grizzlies and the Pacers. Citing unnamed sources, it was reported that multiple members of the Pacers saw a red dot pointed at them while they were near a loading dock. Again, there was nothing after that. The NBA also confirmed that the individuals were banned, that it didn't identify publicly, were banned from the arena. But it said in its investigation into the January event that it found no evidence anyone was threatened with a weapon. Morant and Pack was also involved in a civil lawsuit. So again, you've got multiple incidents with this young scholar. Is it possible that they would do a full year? What do you think?
It'd be difficult. I would support it. I think a lot of people would do it, because at the end of the day, it just becomes too much. It just becomes too much.
And the NBA PA is not as strong as Major League Baseball. Because if this was Major League Baseball, he had a week and
exactly. But it's just too much. It's and especially right now in the climate going on with firearms and people using their guns irresponsibly. Yeah, it's something that they take very seriously. I wouldn't be surprised if he lost the season. It'd be tough. I think if he missed the season, he would get the point. He would, this is. And then financially, I mean, do we re-sign him? Do we give him an extension? Do we give him $200 million, 193 or something like that they were talking about? But it's so complicated. It's so complicated. I just hope that whatever happens, it's a true effective punishment.
Based on my knowledge, which is nothing in the league, I think he's going to get between 25 and 30 games. He's going to get that much, because if the first suspension was 8, fundamentally you're going to go double that, and that's double that. I don't think they'll triple it. But hey, I could be wrong and have been wrong. So let's move on. What are you doing? Okay, what are you doing? Thank God we didn't have this stuff when you played for me, Will. Goodness gracious. Eric Lewis was not selected as one of the 12 referees who will work the NBA Finals because the league continues to look into whether or not he used a Twitter account to defend himself and other officials from online critiques. Why are you looking at this stuff? Anyway, Lewis had been chosen to work the finals each of the past 4 seasons. This year's finals referees were released by the team, announced by the league, and he wasn't one of them. Will, you have read about the situation. 1, do you think he did anything? And 2, why are we doing this? What are you doing?
People are so sensitive now to themselves, man. I mean, they're very into themselves. It's very me. It's a personal shot. People are looking at his credibility. I mean, with sports betting and everything going on, like, it's a very, sensitive topic for referees. I mean, imagine stuff when he's walking around, people are like, hey man, I had a parlay and you call that foul on me and and he's probably like, yo, like I'm here with my wife. I'm trying to eat dinner.
Yes.
At some point it gets too much. At some point, they jump out there and they're like, yo, what do you like? This is our profession. Like, this is how we do. Like, we're not cheating people. We're trying to, holding up a game with we're trying to maintain the game with our integrity. So I think he just got upset. He kind of went off the pen, and just started talking trash in social media. And then when you sit back and maybe you had a little drink and said, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And then they kind of were a little bit more harsh, and they were like, well, you can't ref the NBA final. And they were like, whoa, but it was just a little, I didn't. At
least he was defending them, allegedly.
Yeah. He said, he probably was like, well, I wasn't being racist. I wasn't saying anything correct. Why am I don't have to do this? But organizations have to do that. You know what I'm saying? They have to have strict rules, and they have to have penalties so that people know that they're not playing. This is not like a game. So it's unfortunate. I'm sure he's going to lose some shekels, but he'll still be here. He'll be there next year. Don't worry. Just keep doing your thing and stop talking on social media.
To quote Herm Edwards, just don't push sin. Don't push sin. Yeah. All right, fans. So when we get back, we're going to talk about all the NBA coaching hires, get some insight, because a lot of stuff happened last week, and we want to talk about it. We'll be right back on the Yacht Coaches Podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete, academic, and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE Project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student-athletes. As student-athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE Project offers academic and athletic services to support student-athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 2. A lot of coaching news. So I want to just jump right in. We're going to start in Boston, Will. Joe Mazzulla will remain as the head coach of the Boston Celtics, as he should. He's going to return next year. He led the Celtics to a 57-25 record, number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference in his first season. Everyone, including my partner, said, leave him alone. He's young, it's his first year. I'm the opposite. You signed a check. I don't want to hear about your birthday. I don't want to hear about any of that. You picked him. So don't tell me about the problems you're having with the person you picked. Brad Stevens said the Celtics plan to add at least one assistant coach because several Celtics assistants will be leaving Boston to rejoin with Ime Udoka. So what do you think, Will? One, should they have signed him to the long-term deal during the season? And two, what did you think about the job he did in the postseason?
No, I don't think should have signed him to the long term. I just don't think that's smart to do. You got to see what the end of the season says, and then okay, this is how we want to move forward. So I'm glad they didn't sign it right now, and I don't think he earned it, to be honest with you.
But he got his check now, so you're stuck with him.
Yeah, you got to check now. He's good. Well, he made it as far as they could. They almost made it to the finals, Game 7. I mean, they should have kind of won that. So, I mean, hey, I've seen worse. It's hard to say. I mean, you have a ton of coaches now who are making it to the finals in the last year, 2 years ago, are getting fired. Even Coach Bud. I mean, he won a final and then he's out. Nate McMillan.
Yeah, I know about that trend personally.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's and it must be like a trend right now in the NBA. I think both were acceptable kind of decisions. I mean, either let him go or keep him. I think people are like, okay, I understand why on both ends, so it makes sense. But I don't know. We'll see if he can. I mean, if he doesn't get in here, if he doesn't get to at least the finals this year, then people are going to start talking, and then sustainability. Are you going to make it? It's going to be tough.
Teams are not going to get worse; they're going to get better. So
Right.
we'll see what we'll see what happens with that. But all right, we're going to move to the 76ers. They hired Nick Nurse just a few weeks after his successful 5-year run with Toronto ended. He's already talked to James Harden and plans to meet with every other player on the roster, including Joel Embiid. What do you think about the fit of Nick Nurse and the 76ers?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to make me go crazy. It's not going to get me excited about the season, especially if I'm a fan. It's curious. I'm really wondering why they jumped on him so fast. I'm not sure. I have nothing. I don't really know. I mean, I don't know if any previous experience or with Joel or somewhere or Harden or. I mean, other than that 1 year where you got Kawhi Leonard and he won the championship for you, it's hard for me to really even say how'd you get that job. But I mean, he may have been a safe choice, but I just can't understand why they did it. It's so fast. But I guess they wanted to get him in now, right before the draft who he needs to pick, get his move forward. I don't know. I'm surprised Monty Williams didn't get the job.
Well, we'll get to Monty in a moment because I think there's a different type of connection there. But yeah, the Sixers, good luck because they're just kind of spinning wheels like most teams, and they're making temporary decisions, and yesterday's solutions lead to today's problems, and it's good luck. So let's go to Phoenix. Re-entry. The Phoenix Suns and Frank Vogel have a 5-year deal to make him the franchise's next coach. The Suns offered the job to Vogel. Vogel emerged as a finalist between him and Doc Rivers and Suns assistant Kevin Young. So Kevin Young was the one the players want. So Phoenix gave him strong consideration. And then when he got passed on the job, Phoenix signed him to a deal worth more than $2 million annually to make him the NBA's highest paid assistant coach. The Suns were determined to keep him because Young is one of the top assistants and he has a tight relationship with Devin Booker. This will be Vogel's 4th time as an NBA head coach, which stops with the Lakers, the Magics, and the Pacers. He did win the double championship, and yes, it counts. What do you think about the Suns not only hiring Vogel, but front loading a lot of money to Kevin Young to stay on as an assistant?
Why didn't they just make Kevin Young the coach? Why didn't they just make him the coach? I mean, what are you doing? If you're paying the assistant more than the head coach,
No. I think
oh, he's not making more.
He's not gonna
Oh,
make more than the head coach.
Okay, it's just significant.
But he's got a good
But
deal.
still, I mean, it's
to stick
enough.
around.
I mean, it's not. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know why. I guess it must be a maturity thing. It must be something outside of basketball that they respect. It's like, hey, you are a basketball genius, but outside of basketball, we have a little questions that
It
things
reminds me of college and the guy being the recruiter and keeping the recruiter around. That's what it reminded me of initially,
Yeah.
because again, the players wanted him to be the coach. A lot of guys went to bat for him. And remember, KD went to Phoenix in part to play for Monty Williams. And now he's under contract the next couple of years. So you hire Frank Vogel. And I'm like, I ain't mad at Frank, but this dude, man, we make a lot of retrade decisions for like no reason.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's just weird. It was a weird situation. I guess they kind of overmanaged it. One of those things where it's like, well, okay, now we got him. Now we got to get Frank Vogel just to kind of settle everything around. I'm like, yeah, but
and they keep talking about defense. They're talking about Nick Nurse being a good defensive coach. Did you see that roster? And they're talking about Frank Vogel, one of the most innovative. Man, I can't remember the last time I seen KD slap the floor and say, I love defense. Big step, big step. I ain't bad at him, but don't tell me that he's a defensive genius. You got Chris Paul at 38. I mean, he ain't going full court. We ain't playing 24.
Yeah, very slow. It's gonna be a very slow kind of game. Very,
22 tough, baby. 22 tough.
Good for them, man. They all got jobs, right? That's what you.
All right. Now the Pistons, they stole this one. And I think I have an idea of why this occurred. Monty Williams is taking over the Pistons. And I don't think Coach Williams wanted to coach this year. But when the Pistons came at him and said, here's a 6-year deal worth $78.5 million. Yeah, I'm good, because it's the largest coaching deal in NBA history. And if you know basketball from this area, the Detroit GM is Troy Weaver, who is from the DC area. Monty Williams is from the DC area, from high school. We're all contemporaries. Monty's 51, I'm 50. We remember all of these cats. And I think Detroit has something. And when the NBA totals come out for next year for the season, I think fans, you might want to pay attention to Detroit, because they have young talent. And anything you've seen from Monty Williams, he brings structure to an organization. He brings discipline to an organization, and he gets a lot of help. So, and the East, man, all you got to do is I think Detroit has the potential to be in the top 6 instead of the play-in kind of situation. I think they could be 5 or 6, believe it or not, when they get all this talent together and then have a chance to grow and develop it. Any thoughts about Monty Williams becoming the highest paid coach in NBA history?
Man, I was wishing that the Wizards hired him. I was so happy. I mean, not happy they lost the job, but I was like, man, Wizards should get him right now. Get rid of Unseld, get rid of him. But hey, good for Detroit, man. It's always good to have them in the mix. It's been kind of messed up that they're kind of just like treading water for the last 4, 5, 6 years or so. But yeah, it's excited to get him. They got some young players. They got what's his name from
got Cade Cunningham and a couple of other guys.
Yeah, and they got the kid from the Warriors, Wiseman.
They got Wiseman too.
Yeah,
okay.
Wiseman, and he was playing amazing. I mean,
you can't learn sitting, and he wasn't getting off that bench.
Yeah, and and Monty Williams just comes in and he just makes teams just flourish. They just flourish. Guys love him. Organizations probably love him. I mean, he's just one of those guys.
And he's supported. Troy Weaver's going to support him where. And this is no slight. You're in the business world. New owners want their own people. Right. Doesn't mean you're bad. It just means you're not the person that I wanted. Right. So that happens.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
It's good. Unfortunately, other than playing in Detroit, everything else is good for
him. You can get a good steak dinner in Detroit.
There you go.
All right. So the Brooklyn Nets. I wanted to talk about the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are hiring Kevin Ollie as an assistant coach. Ollie won an NCAA championship at UConn in 2014 and had been a finalist for the Detroit Pistons head coaching job. Ollie joins Jacques Vaughn, who I thought should have got consideration for Coach of the Year. And he's done a lot of player development with Overtime Elite, which is now getting the fruits of their work by having guys getting drafted following that model. It's interesting that the NBA started bringing more college guys because of the age and of the players in the league. And Ollie is a supreme teacher of basketball. So keep an eye on the Nets because they won't have a lot of stars, but they got basketball people playing basketball. And wait, sounds like Denver. I'm not worried about pleasing you, getting you shots, hugging, kissing you. I'm worried about basketball, and they got a lot of good basketball people there. Any thoughts on that hire?
Anything stability is good for Brooklyn. When you lose the kind of stars and talent that they lose in the immediate kind of process. I mean, it happened in less than like 6 months. They lost everybody. Harden, KD, Kyrie gone. They still competed. They still competed.
Yeah.
And they still, they didn't lay down, man. So, stability is key. So any organization that can hold its own water, say, hey, we lost those superstars, but look, we right here. Like maybe not title contenders, but we right here. That speaks to the organization and stability. So if you're adding more,
just keep an eye on them. And when those season totals come out, again, strictly for entertainment purposes only, I'm gonna take an extra look at the Brooklyn number. And finally, the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz G League affiliate, the Salt Lake City Stars, is hiring former Marquette coach Steve Wojnarowski as its head coach. Woj has been living in Salt Lake City since departing Marquette. He has been eager to make a leap into pro coaching and now lands with the franchise with a lot of young players. Wojo went to Duke, had his incredible career. Remember, Quinn Snyder was with the Jazz. Now he's with the Hawks. Wojo spent time this past season attending Jazz practices and building a relationship with Coach Will Hardy. Wojo joins Snyder and a bunch of other guys who've made the successful transition to the NBA through the G League. In addition, Mike Bray is with Quinn Snyder on the Hawks bench. So any thought about Wojo being G League head coach?
I think it's good for the organization. I think it's good for the G League organization because they're like, hey, if we coach, we can really get NBA chances, and really make it not just players, but organizational structure changes. So that's good for them. I mean, for actually tap into their farm system and say, okay, let's maybe think about something a little different, which may open a lot of doors for a lot of other people to get into be coaching. Again, it'll be difficult. Again, you're not going to bring superstars to Utah, and you got to draft well. Yeah, and you're good enough that you're not going to tank. Well, ish, but I tread water. I think they'll at best they'll get into the play-in. Make it fun.
They were hanging last year, and they weren't supposed to, and they've got all this draft capital. So I like the investment that a lot of these teams are making, Brooklyn and Utah and several others, in player development. That's one of the things that, was very important to me. You played for me. Every day we're going to do 12 minutes of fundamental drills because we're not going to turn the ball over. We're going to be able to do whatever it is we're trying to do. And then when you leave us to go to college, wherever you want to go, you'll be able to fit into whatever system anybody plays. So I like the investment in player development, and I'll be, again, keeping an eye on that win total for Utah as we see the draft coming up and all of these things. But when we get back, fans, WNBA news and notes and the week in review, we'll be right back on the Eye Coaches podcast.
The high school and college academic and athletic landscape is changing. The growing number of college transfers, as well as student athletes being able to profit off the use of their name, image, and likeness, has given student athletes the freedom and power to make life-changing decisions. That is why it is important for student athletes to be properly informed throughout the decision-making process. The difference between success and failure is often measured not by yards, but by inches, and even the most successful coaches and players use outside independent consultants to help improve their decision making, which improves their results. That is what the CKA SAVE project would like to do for student athletes across the country, improve their academic and athletic results. Our academic and athletic consulting services assist student athletes with the college decision-making process. The CKA team of former high school and college coaches can provide student athletes an independent assessment of their academic and athletic skills to assist student athletes in their college decision-making process. Let the CKA team evaluate your academic and athletic ability to assist you in finding the right fit for your academic and athletic career. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast and segment 3. Got some injuries in the WNBA. So fans, the WNBA is a 40-game season, and it's like a sprint to the finish. And injuries can derail team chemistry in an instant. So let's talk a little bit about Atlanta. Atlanta Dream guard Danielle Robinson underwent a successful left knee arthroscopic surgery last week and is anticipated to return prior to the All-Star break in July. Again, that's rushed, but she's going to hustle to try to come back. So it's something to keep an eye on. Robinson's a 3-time WNBA All-Star and a 3-time All-Defensive pick, and she suffered the injury on May 20th in the season opener. So that's a big loss for the Atlanta Dream. And the Chicago Sky, Rebecca Gardner has undergone successful foot surgery, and she will be out indefinitely. She was injured in a loss to the Mystics last week. And the Chicago Sky also has Isabel Harrison out after undergoing knee surgery, and Ruthie Hebert has yet to return from maternity leave, and rookie Morgan Bursch injured her ankle in the same game and hasn't appeared since. Will, it's a lot of injuries in the WNBA. There's only 144 players, 12 per team, 12 teams, no roster expansion. You got people upset about it. Last week, Mike and I talked about the college player recently cut, used to play at LSU. Any thoughts about the WNBA and their roster size, and what suggestions, if any, would you make?
It's weird that they would expand with teams, but they wouldn't even do the rosters. Like, you're willing.
They haven't expanded with teams. They need to, because they only got 12 teams, and you only got 12 players per team.
I think they should. I mean, now they're seeing that, we're talking about the season that they have. I mean, look, you have to at least keep people watching. If your issue is watching and injuries and stars are getting hurt, and you need to keep something, at least the game has to be good, you have to expand the roster. I understand, they're choosing. It's tough. It's tough. I understand, but they just need something needs to happen. It needs to happen. I think people upset. I think it's going to be a bad season because which is crazy because they had a very good last season. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are watching. People are going up. The viewership went up, and now people are ready for that next jump, and they're not really doing it. And people are like, well, it doesn't help that COVID is pretty much over, and people are going back outside. Mm-hmm. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think they just need to figure things out to keep the game exciting. Because I was watching a game, maybe last night, a Mystics game, and
Were you checking it out on Ion?
Yeah,
Ion television.
Yeah. And they were just like, it was, like 5-6 with 3 minutes left in the first quarter, and I'm just like you guys gotta keep going. Maybe I caught a bad game. I'm sure it was a bad game, but they need to kind of sit back and reevaluate what's going on, because they have a gem right now, and they have a great captive audience who want to see it. They just keep missing the ball, and we keep putting the ball right here, and they every time just miss. So we'll hopefully figure it out.
Well, keeping that going, you tell me, is this good or bad news for the WNBA? Iowa guard Caitlin Clark, the National Woman Player of the Year and a golf enthusiast, will play in the Pro-Am for the PGA Tour John Deere Classic July 5th. Clark will be in the group with fellow Iowan Zach Johnson, who's the captain of the Ryder Cup team. This past season, she led Iowa to a Big Ten tournament championship, NCAA tournament title game, which they lost to LSU. She also led Division I women in assists per game, 3-pointers per game, total threes, triple doubles, and she was second in scoring average at 27.8. So I was getting that pub. WNBA is not getting that pub, but she could have played in this anyway because it's in the middle of the WNBA season. So what are your thoughts on, Caitlin Clark getting this kind of ink, this kind of pub? Is that good or bad for the WNBA?
I think it's great for the WNBA. I think it's great. I mean, I think people love the stuff when they see Steph Curry and Patrick Mahomes and they're playing golf, and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady playing golf. And I'm a golf fan.
Yes,
I
you
play
are.
golf. I'm a golfer, and I just love it, man. I think more people should do it. I think it's fun. I think it's a great opportunity to be candid with athletes in terms of their mentality and things like that, because it is a very thinking kind of game. It's more physicality than it is. And obviously, that people are going to watch. I mean, people are going to watch, and people don't have to just watch and focus. They can watch, take a shot, think about it, take a drink, talk to my buddy, and then maybe 2 other minutes, then she's hitting the next shot, and it's a pace that's really good for her and for us.
Mhm.
I'll watch. I'll tell you right now, I'll watch. I watch women's golf, because women's golf, I think, translate very easily to the men's game, that they can even play together. They have
Mhm.
mixed tournaments and things like that, and I've seen tournaments where women will beat men in golf. So I think it's very intriguing. I wish the WNBA could capture that and find more. Hey, WNBA, do any of you guys play golf, or do any of you want to play golf?
I'm sure there are many
Oh,
golfers out there,
get them on there.
but
Get
but
them on
again,
there.
it goes that they're in the season, so
Yeah, it's
um,
tough. It's tough. But you could do an early, obviously they're doing training, but you could do maybe an early fall. I mean, shoot, you could travel. We can go down to Maui, we can go to Hawaii, get some, hey, all the all-stars who want to play WNBA come play a little tournament, because they would play them, they would be
it would have
NBA
to be in
guys.
August because the NBA training camp starts in September and the WNBA ends in August. So it had to be early August, September. But I like
Oh,
the idea.
and then you could do mixed tournament. You could do
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark and Tiger Woods versus Angel Reese and Royal McIlroy. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
let's see if Angel play. All right. So OCP top 4. Number 1 is Las Vegas, and they've got a +20 scoring differential. They're beating everyone pretty badly. Connecticut is 2, New York is 3, and Washington's 4. In terms of the bottom 4, Indiana, which got their first win, go Aaliyah Boston. Phoenix is struggling early in the season. Seattle and I believe Minnesota is winless. Games of the week: Friday, June 9th, Phoenix against Dallas. Phoenix needs to get on the winning trail. And there's no game Saturday, June 10th. Finally, Will, I thought this was cool and I wanted to share it. All current undergraduate and graduate students at HBCUs will get 40% off the WNBA League Pass. Students only have to verify their discount eligibility. If you send your school's name, your first name, your date of birth, and your school email address, you can get 40% off the WNBA League Pass if you go to an HBCU. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
What do you think, Cotton Man?
they should do stuff with the NBA League too. I think they should do it all inclusive. I think that's really cool, man. I mean, just keep doing stuff to keep the league fun, man. Keep watch. I mean, you have people who watch, cornhole. Come on, we just make it fun, and promote it. And don't beat us over the head about it. So it's a fine line, but yeah, I like that. That's good.
All right. So On behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, and my captain for life, Will Cotton, I am Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.